Due to a high crime rate, the U.S. Police Department has been terrified, causing them to make careless mistakes known as police brutality.
Dr. Carson goes directly after the Black Lives Matter movement, saying they are distracting people from what matters most. He says the real problem for minority communities is not the police departments, it is young people who cannot find jobs, parents who don't have the skills to compete, and violence that tears apart these neighborhoods. He writes about growing up with bullets, drugs, and death in the places he played tag with friends, how his older cousins died on the streets, but his mother made sure that didn't happen to him, using little more than a library card. Dr. Carson issues his own call.
Police brutality is the deliberate use of excessive force, usually physical, carried out during law enforcement activities with the population. This type of behavior also includes attacks and psychological intimidation by a police officer.
Since May of 2013, there have been over 3,000 Americans killed by police. Statistics also show that Chicago has the highest fatal police shootings from 2010 through 2014 with 70. Incidents of police violence from about the last 15 years have shown that 72% of all races in America have been brutalized while armed and 28% while unarmed. However, 41% of African Americans have been shot or brutalized by the police unarmed, which is the most by any of the other races. This also leads to the reason why there was a lot of conflict in Ferguson, where a white man shot an 18-year-old black man named Michael Brown who was unarmed.
A police officer from Richmond, Virginia. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm an ex-police officer. As a matter of fact, I was in the Washington, D.C. Police Department in the early 70s when the gentleman addressed. My question is simply just being an ex-police officer, and I think I saw a few things from the ground level. I can't quite, and I've never been able to quite figure out why is it that the majority population of the incarcerated individuals are either blacks or Hispanic or minority, and they only make up roughly a third of their population. This smacks in statistics in the face. I mean, for this to be so, blacks and Hispanics would pretty much have to be committing 90% of the crimes in America. And being an ex-police officer, I know that's not so. That doesn't balance with the local statistics. Can you address that for me?
Well, that's another good question, and I believe if you were to look at the FBI statistics, they're published every year, although it doesn't come up.
October 22nd is also known as National Day of Protest to Stop Police Brutality, Repression, and Criminalization of an Entire Generation. The event, which is overseen by the October 22 Coalition, is held in many major cities and towns across the United States.
Case of a South Carolina police officer charged with shooting a suspect who was running away from him. Michael Slager is due in court this afternoon for a bail hearing. His lawyers say newly enhanced video by the FBI shows what they say really happened during that traffic stop. ABC's Steve Ozunsami is in Charleston. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning to you, Robin. This former police officer is charged with murder and remains in isolation at the county lockup, but there's a chance he could get bail and walk out of this courthouse today.
Shots fired. Subject is down. You grabbed my taser.
This morning, we're learning how the former police officer in this disturbing recording plans to defend himself in court. In the cell phone video seen round the world, Michael Slager is seen shooting an unarmed black man in the back as he's running away. Prosecutors say that Walter Scott was no danger to himself or the officer. But at his bail hearing today, Slager's attorneys will show a different video, a few seconds of the original, enhanced by the FBI. It's hard to make out here, but they say this is Scott fighting with Slager on the ground before the shooting.
The FBI analysis of the video is a violent physical assault in which clearly on that video, Mr. Scott obtained the upper hand.
After the police officer Michael Slager shot Walter Scott 8 times, he was charged with murder and sent to jail. However, as of January 4th, Slager was released from jail and he is remaining under house arrest until his trial, which is set to begin next Halloween.
DeKalb County Officer Robert Olson fatally shot and killed a 27-year-old Anthony Hill in March 2015. He was an Air Force pilot who was deployed to Afghanistan who suffered post-traumatic stress disorder, according to the New York Times.